Hey, what's going on, my hungry friends? Today we're going to be exploring all the way deep down in Mexico. We're going to be making birria tacos. You know, generally it's made from lamb, meat or whatnot. Today we're using beef, okay? And we're going to dip it into a consomme. It's going to be beautiful and it's going to be wonderful for sure, okay? We're bringing Mexico up north. Stay tuned. And if you like this channel, please don't forget to subscribe. And if you like this video in particular, don't forget to ring that bell. We are going to make it right now. Let's make it. Okay, my hungry friends, so check this out. Okay, so before we get into the birria tacos, I'm gonna briefly explain how much ingredients and the type of ingredient that we are gonna be utilizing in the dish. And the reason why we're doing that is, one, there's a lot of ingredients here, and two, it'll help my, my production management team put my ingredient list together, so that way you at home will know how to make it, you know, to the T, okay? And I'm gonna show you exactly how I do it, okay? So what we're gonna talk about is some of our dry ingredients, okay? We will be using about a ½ teaspoon of cayenne pepper for this. We're gonna do 1 tablespoon of Gran Ancho chili. We're gonna do 1 tablespoon of chili powder. Make it real simple. We're gonna go 1 teaspoon all the way around here. We're gonna do 1 tablespoon of ground cumin. We're gonna do 4 bay leaves, okay? And you can get that at any grocery store. We're gonna do 1 tablespoon of thyme. We're gonna put about a tablespoon of whole cloves or so. Generally, you wanna do about 10 to 15. Okay, we're gonna do a tablespoon of Mexican oregano. Mexican oregano, right? And we're going to do 1 tablespoon of cumin seed. And we're going to do a tablespoon of whole black peppercorn. Okay. All right, so that's it for the dry ingredients. And then what we're also going to talk about is, of course, we're adding salt and pepper later, but I want to go into the peppers that we are going to be using. But before we go into that, we are going to throw in a cinnamon stick here later. Okay. We're gonna do what's called Birria Ancho chili pods. Okay, we're gonna go about 4 to 6 of those. Okay. Additionally, we're gonna go into what's called chili pods, right? And if you don't like spice or whatever, don't omit them. I mean, don't put them in there. You can omit them out. Okay. I like a little bit of heat, so I'm probably gonna go about 6. So for my production team, please add 6 to that list. For guajillo chilies, we're going to use right around 6 to 8 of those or so. I'm going to use this whole bag. It's about equivalent to about 6 to 8 of those. And additionally, we're going to be adding in the chili morita or morita chilies. And we're going to add about 4 to 6 of those as well. Okay. Last but not least, we're going to talk about our veggies. I got 1 big carrot, and I shredded it down so it's all clean and nice, right? We got 1 whole large onion. We're gonna use about 6 to 8 cloves of garlic. We're gonna use 4 Roma tomatoes, and we're gonna cut them in halves. We have our lime and our parsley for garnish. The star of our dish we're also going to be using is we're gonna be using ground chuck. And if you take a look at the marbling, it's just fantastic, okay? And we're gonna be using 3 pounds of that. And we got about 3 cups of Oaxaca cheese, okay? And you can find that at most grocery stores as well. It's all gonna be paired into, of course, our corn tortillas. And now, without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and go right into it, okay? So what I like to do is I'm gonna clear this up, get it ready for you, and we're gonna go start with step number 1, okay? So stay tuned. Okay, so step number 1, what we're gonna do is we're gonna add salt to our ground chuck. And the reason why we're gonna add salt to our ground chuck is we're gonna extract a little bit of moisture out of that, and we're gonna set that aside, okay? So let's go ahead and do that now. And we're gonna apply that to all the sides. And once it's seasoned, what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna cut them into chunks, okay? Okay, and the reason why we're cutting them into chunks is so that way we can evenly distribute the heat when we put it into our crock pot later. Okay, but before we put it in the crock pot, we're going to sear it. All right. Okay, so look at the sizes, kind of close to size. All right. Okay, so now we're going to go right into step number 2. Okay, we're going to talk about these chilies real quick. So right here, right before we have what's called the Pasilla Ancho chili pods. And what we're going to do is we're going to take them out of the bag. Okay, and what you're going to do is, see how it looks like this? You're going to take off the stem. Okay, you're going to open it up. And you're going to extract the seeds out of it. So if you can see here, there shouldn't be a lot in these ones. So, but that's all you're doing with that, and you're just throwing in your pot. Okay. Because ultimately, what we're going to do is we're going to take these chili pods, the guajillos, and the remaining of them. We're going to boil them for about 10 minutes or so. And all we're going to do is we're going to just hydrate them. Okay, just bring them back to life, if you will. Okay. All right, so now the next step, we're going to add in the chili moritas. Okay, going to add them into our pot. Okay, get rid of the seeds. And then we are going to add in guajillo chilies. Okay, so this one, pay close attention to because we're going to take all of the seeds out of this one. All we're going to do is just gut it out. And don't worry about if it's perfect about all the seeds being out or not, or the way you cut it, because you're just hydrating them anyways, and we're going to end up throwing them into the blender here in a few moments. But just make sure you try to get as much seeds as you can. Okay, now last but not least, we are going to add in about 6 chili pods, audible chili pods. Okay, let's get these in here. And with these ones, you don't have to cut the stems or de-seed them, okay? This just gives a little bit of spice. So we're gonna add about 6, 8 of them. You know what? Oh, I like spice. Bam, do it. Okay. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our chiles that we just put in here. We, took the stems off a few of them, and we also de-seeded them. What we're gonna do is we're gonna add in 3 liters of water. And all we're gonna do is we're gonna rehydrate them, and we're gonna boil them for about 10 minutes or so. Okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do this at high heat, or medium to high heat or so. A second here. Medium high, start, and we're gonna let that go. Okay. Now, we're going to begin to start combining all of our dry ingredients together. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to do this on our blender. Okay. Got a little bit of a mess, but I'm going to clean it up here shortly. But what we're going to do is we're going to take about a tablespoon of cayenne pepper. Measure carefully, folks. Measure carefully. All right, let's put this back on. All right, we're gonna go with, it's called Gran Ancho Chili, tablespoon. All right, measure carefully, folks. We're gonna go 1 tablespoon of chili powder. Okay. Okay, so now we're gonna add in a teaspoon of ground cumin. We're going to add in 2 bay leaves. Make sure you carefully take these out. Okay, because we're going to be using 2 later, okay? But it's going to be 4 leaves total. So for my videography team, 4 bay leaves. Okay. We're gonna do about a tablespoon of thyme. Okay, gives it some of those fresh aromatics. Okay. All right, what do we got? All right, so we're gonna use about 8 to 10 cloves. Okay. All right, we're gonna add in some Mexican oregano. Okay, it's a little bit different than your regular oregano. Okay. We're gonna add in a tablespoon of black peppercorns, whole black peppercorns. All right. Again, make sure you measure carefully how I did it. Okay, and then we're gonna do some organic cumin seeds. Okay, tablespoon of that. Okay. Now, what we're also going to do, we're gonna put this aside and we're gonna throw in a stick of cinnamon. Okay, I'm gonna put that on here, ready to blend. Okay, so as we're blending, we want all the pieces to come together. All ready? All right, take a look at that. Fantastic. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add in some additional ingredients. Okay, before we start getting into wet products, let's go ahead and cut up our carrot. And make sure when we're cutting this up, you don't want too big of a chunk when they're going into our blender, because you don't want to, I don't know, kind of destroy your blades there. So, but at least give it, like, you know, kind of a rough chop. Okay, then we're gonna add in our Roma tomatoes, and we're gonna cut these into halves as well. Okay, now what we're gonna do is just cut it, right? And matter of fact, we're gonna break them down in even quarters. Let's give this a quick pulse, because we're gonna also add in a white onion. All right, so now we're gonna cut an onion into quarters as well. And just take off the pieces. That's it, that's all we're doing. That's the fun part, folks. Just building things together. Cooking is like a puzzle. You know, once you get the puzzle put together and you have the main dish ready to eat, that's your finished product, folks. All right, we're gonna add in some garlic. Okay, we're gonna add in about a quarter cup of white wine vinegar. All right, sounds about right. Measure carefully. All right, now we're gonna add in 3 cups of beef broth. All right, here's the first couple cups. All right, well, actually, that's about 2 cups. And we'll add the remaining into the crock pot here in a little bit. Okay. Now let's give this a nice blend. Oh man, this smells amazing. All right, well, we didn't want the blade to go in there. Not a big deal, because we are going to go right into blending our peppers. Yeah, it's almost about done. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our chilies. They've been boiling for about 10 minutes or so. Let's go ahead and turn this off. Okay, and we're gonna transfer all of these delicious chilies. And if you look, they're totally hydrated. Just as it came out of a garden. Look at that. Okay. And we're actually going to take a little bit of this water and put it in here. About a cup. Then we're going to add in the rest of the beef broth. About 2 cups. And we're going to do the remaining juice that we're going to save out of here. We're going to apply that later at the end before we start pressure cooking. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get this into the blender. All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to combine it with the rest of the other ingredients and let it sit. Okay. Now the next step we're going to do is we're now going to sear our chuck roast, okay? And so what we're going to do is we're going to take our crock pot. You can do it in a pan or pot or however you wish you want to do it. But today we're going to be using my crock pot and we're going to saute it, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to get this to really hot. Okay. And we're going to let that warm up a second. Now, while that's warming up, we are going to use oil, okay? You can use peanut oil, you know, whatever oil that makes you happy, just something with a high smoke point, okay? So, this should be coming up to temp real quick. And while that's coming up to temp, we're gonna put in our oil. And we're gonna use about a couple tablespoons of oil. Let that get hot. Okay. And if you look at our meat, it's already have been drawing moisture out from the salt, okay? And we're just waiting to get it to about 350, 375 degrees. Okay, so go ahead and stand by for 1 second while we get this up to temperature. Okay, so folks, we're ready on for the next stage here. What we're gonna do is we're now gonna brown our chuck roast. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna brown every single side, okay? We're not cooking it, we're just quickly browning it, all right? So let's go ahead and take a look. All right, there you go. And we're gonna let that brown about 2 minutes on each side or so, okay? Again, all we're doing is we're creating this awesome Maillard reaction just so we can seep in the flavors, okay? And once we do that, we're gonna add in the rest of the consomme sauce, and it's gonna be fantastic towards the end. Don't worry about that. And then we're gonna go ahead and start making our amazing quesadilla tacos, and then you'll see how I do that, okay? And we're also gonna be adding a couple bay leaves. But go ahead and stay tuned, give me about a few minutes, let these brown on each side, and then I'm gonna show you the next step. Stay tuned. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at the browning of our meat, okay? So if you take a look, it looks like this. It's been browned about 2 minutes on each side or so, but it's not cooking, it's just a quick sear. We're gonna take it out real quick. And what we're going to do is we're going to start adding in our consomme, okay? I just wanted you guys to see it. All right, let's get this out. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to add in all this delicious goodness. All of it. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we're going to add in our beef. Okay, and I think my dog is going crazy because I think the neighbors are smelling this food and want to come over. And then remember that liquid that we boiled the peppers in, we're going to actually add that in there as well. Because what's going to happen is we're going to pressure cook this. And the pressure cooker is going to draw out all that moisture, okay? So while it's doing that, it's extracting out of the pot, right? And it's gonna be remarkable. It's gonna taste fantastic. Okay, so we're gonna do, okay, so now that's in. Let's go ahead and stop this real quick because it was on the saute. All right, so we're gonna just put this on meat upholstery and we're gonna go on pressure high and we're gonna do this for 1 hour. Okay, and we're gonna start. So now, we got this in the pressure cooker for about an hour. Let's go ahead and turn this on. The vents are on and we are gonna be ready in 1 hour. Stay tuned. All right, my hungry friends. So before we start making our tacos onto our griddle, we wanted to ensure that the crock pot's ready to go and that it is finished. So what we're gonna do is I'm actually gonna take the steam off or take the steam out to that way it releases all that pressure. And once that pressure is done, give me about 45 seconds or 45 seconds or so, we're gonna go ahead and start making our tacos. So give me about 1 minute and we're getting ready to rock and roll on the tacos. Okay, so before we take the meat out of the crock pot, we're gonna turn on our local grill or griddle, or you can use whatever you want, by the way. You can use like one of those flat iron pans or whatnot, but today I'm using a local griddle. And the reason why I like to be outside is, once again, I don't wanna burn my house, as we indicated earlier. So as you see, we have our griddle. It's already on, and all I'm gonna do is turn this on to about 350 degrees. Yeah, it's rocking and rolling, okay? So let's let this heat up for a second, and let's go ahead and let's take the meat right out of the crock pot. Come on over. Okay, as you can tell, the steam is still coming out. All right, let's go ahead and ooh, that is smelling wonderful. Okay. Let's go and take the meat out. Oh, it's already tender, folks. Look at that. So you can see how tender it is, look. Amazing. All right. And what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna shred it. Take 2 forks. Look at this. Look how I'm barely even touching this. Whew. Okay. What we're gonna do is we're gonna chop this up for a second so you can see it. Okay. Now that we have our meat shredded, what I like to do is take some of this consomme sauce that we had made, get about a ladle or 2 over it, just so we ensure that this meat doesn't dry out. Let's do another one here. Because what's going to happen is when we start building our tacos, we're going to be pulling from it. Okay, just like that. Let's go ahead and swish this around a little bit. And it kind of looks like sloppy Joe, if you will, but it's no Joe in it. So, okay. Enough of the corny jokes. All right. Okay, so the next step is to build these birria tacos. Okay, so what I like to do is, let's get these flour tortillas out. I'm sorry, corn tortillas. Okay. And I don't want to use any broken ones. It's going to break here in a second anyway. Let's do this. And we're going to make a whole bunch of them. Okay. And so obviously we have our grill. And that's shooting at 350. Uh-oh, this one's not. What's going on, you? There it is. Okay, we'll build from the right and build from the left. And so what I like to do is I'll take my corn tortilla and I'm going to spin it like the wheel in the consomme sauce. Like this. Okay, and then we're going to go to the grill. And we're gonna wait for that to blister up, and we're gonna repeat that several times. So here in about a few more seconds, it's gonna start to blister. Again, we got it at 375 degrees, and it's getting real close. You're gonna like this, folks. Okay, and if you look, you can see the tortilla is already starting to crisp up. I'm just gonna flip it over. Okay, yep, it's hot. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some wok of cheese, as I told you earlier. Get a nice gob of it, not a big deal. And this will melt down a little bit. Looks like we ran out of Oaxaca. It's okay. Okay, now the next step, as you notice, it's melted down a little bit. We're gonna put some meat on there. Put as much meat as you like. And I try to get about half because it makes it a little bit easier to fold in. Oop, let's do this. All right, so now we're gonna do is add some onions. Good. All right, add some parsley. Cilantro. All right. Now we're going to fold this over. Look at those juices. All right. We are done, my folks. Let's go and turn that off. Okay, so let's go ahead and get these on a plate. Let's go ahead and add a few more. Look at that. Okay. All right, so now we have our tacos and our consomme. We're just gonna sprinkle a little bit of onions over the top. And last but not least, a touch of parsley. Okay, now it's back to backyard privilege time. We all know what that means, right? Where I have the opportunity to get a little bit of privilege in my backyard by eating this wonderful dish, okay? So let's take a gander at what this is like. Okay, it's meaty. I mean, look at that. It's just craving and just juice is just falling out. But here's a consomme sauce that we made with it. Okay, just a nice little dip. Mmm. Ooh! Now I see why the Mayans and the Mongols never... I don't know what I'm talking about, but let me tell you. The fatty flavor from the beef, outstanding. All those components from all the dry ingredients that we put in here, the cilantro, the onions. Let me tell you, I feel like I can have every day a Cinco de Mayo day, right? So this is all for my Mexican family and friends. You got to do it. Absolutely, you have to try this dish, okay? Quesadilla, friends. Birria Tacos, or however you want to call it. Birria, okay? So, if you like what you saw today, please don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell. And until next time, my friends, stay hungry. Catch you next time.